I wanted to briefly talk about the target people. I want to show you something interesting. You can always recognize who is the person who is target and if it is target, because mostly target people or also target individuals are persons who technically are the no ones. Yeah. These people is usually poor people, people with not so much education, and they are always continuously complaining about gun stalking and complaining about the same kind of situations. And this is happening all over the world, but you can trace that initially this used to apparently be in United States, UK, and then obviously it just started in the center of the economy, and then it started to go outwards. Then you have people like me in Australia, you will find target people in Canada, I guess, and you will find other target people around the world. So then definitely it's something that will come from the center of the economy, but what kind of technologies you will need for that? First, you will have certain knowledge in neuroscience. So it means that you need to map the brain. It means that you have to have, in order to map the brain, the machines that could scan the brain. So we are talking about electromagnetic scanners, and also we will need artificial intelligence, because once we have the map, we can have an electromagnetic pulse that will recognize the place that needs to be targeted in the brain, followed by the attack. And it makes the attacks very precise, especially if you have technologies like 5G, which is 26 million waves passing per second. So if you have also data, because you know the person's scanner, then you can also uncover the modus operandi, because you will not just need the person biometrics, which is easily decoded just by the, let's say, electromagnetic waves themselves. It can be any kind of electromagnetic waves. You can easily decode the biometrics of a person using Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or 5G. But if you want precision, you will try to put the person in an electromagnetic scan. So it tells us that the modus operandi will initiate just targeting the person abruptly. So it could happen as, let's say, happened to me at the beginning. I will receive electroshocks, remote electroshocks, sometimes in my spine, sometimes in the brain. So we sometimes in some places inside my body, not any specific organ, just the kind of situation will be electroshocks that will be the most painful feeling that I ever experienced in my life. It's just frightening. It's simply impossible to control that amount of pain. But then, given that situation, people can be targeted abruptly. They are not targeting a specific neurocircuit, they are not targeting anything in specific, but they could create a deterioration in the brain, just as happened to me, in which, let's say, one of the first things that I noticed is that I will start to become blunt, which is similar to a patient who will receive electroshock therapy in the hospital. Yeah, they will have their anode cathodes, and they will have the people's brain just with this, let's say, the stickers that will place, the connections that will cause the electric shock, and then they will proceed to the electric shock. And usually, the people after that electric shock tends to be blunt, plain. For some, this means okay, this person cannot cause any trouble anymore. Then that was the first thing that I started to experience. So then you are not able to communicate. After that, they induce voices, and to induce voices is relatively easy because you either can generate them in the air with certain electromagnetic phenomena with pole traps, or otherwise you can generate voices by placing some non-invasive devices that will be microscopic. I'm not a fan of, let's say, chips, because that's a semi, let's say, conspiracy. But it's possible to make chips so small. We are talking about one of the latest technologies is 1 nanomillimeter. So it means that it's not about an injection. You don't need an injection to have those kind of chips in your brain. You only need drink nanochips or things like that. But these nanochips are not sophisticated. That might help to light up or increase the current in certain places, or they will just they could work as a certain electronic devices like condensers or mini transformers, in which then they will create a bigger kind of magnifying electronic effect, in which maybe the brain becomes more breathable. But again, we are talking about the first inducement of this kind of technology that is always abruptly, so it's not sophisticated. So there are patents from the 50s, 60s, in which you can check that the voice to school technology, it's old, so I'm not really sure if this kind of sound can be directly beamed to the drum, to the earring drum of the ear, which means that because the drum of the ear, technically in every human, has the same shape, then you can easily target the drum of the ear to generate any kind of sound, just as the same kind of signal that you will use in your earphones to produce sound. So it can be even high quality, etc. But it can be also used to beam this kind of sound in the nerves. So when you have this technology in which people is blunt and start to hear voices, then it comes AI. Because you can place a 24 hours machine running, bothering people and leading them towards a path. Because you will have specific voices. This is one of the patterns that is easy to recognize, and this is why it's AI. First, this AI cannot tell you about anything that, or at least, you know, when this started to me, more or less in 2016, 2017, in 2017, in 2018 I was fully aware that it was a technology, but then I kind of thought it could have been schizophrenia, but then I noticed it again because they start to mess up with my brain again, so I got them again. But the kind of technology that they will use at that time will not tell you anything about yourself before you have a mobile phone. So it means that every single thing that catches your mobile phone is always recorded. since day one, since the creation of mobile phones themselves. Why? Because there is no reason I would have been targeted when I was 14 years old, or let's say my mobile phone would catch stuff that will be being in my brain, but I haven't heard anything that has been before I have a mobile phone. Otherwise, it would have been, let's say, information that was captured but any friend's mobile phone or anything like that. And it's very interesting that where I used to live in Colombia, it's likely, well, I don't discard, this could be a conspiracy, but the antenna of mobile phone was protected by a military base. So you have the antenna, and on the base of the antenna you have a military base, and that was the first mobile phone antenna in my town. So maybe because they were gathering information about the people, or maybe because they were doing an experiment, they thought that because I was coming from that town, it will be funny, an opportunity or whatever shit, just to take advantage of someone who doesn't worth anything in society for them to just mess up in this way with me. And this also tells you how is the devaluation of life happening, but I don't want to get into the morals. I mean, I hope there is a reason for which they could say, I don't know, you're a bad person, you're a criminal. Because if that reason exists, I could go to court. But because the reason doesn't exist, they won't allow me to go to court because they cannot blame me or anything wrong, any kind of wrongdoing. And that's why technically they cannot blackmail me. And well, right now I'm in economic jeopardy. Right now they have been changing the kind of strategy that they are doing, and a few things have improved. I've been doing more exercise, my sleep has become better, but still I have the label of schizophrenic. I have to go and pick up my medication, I have to pay for my medication, all that shit. So, and it's impressive because, I mean, I never have done a list of all the kind, let's say, of stuff that I know of different subjects, but I could have been considered something like, one of these persons who will kind of master several fields. But seems that no brain is important anymore. No human brain is important, believe me, because humans are priming AI over humans. So your brain is not important. Or that will be the future, like why your brain will be important. Let's say why I noticed that, because I'm not allowed to read anymore, I'm not allowed to concentrate. I can talk in the situation and you will see that, okay, this guy seems to be focused, but as soon as I leave the camera and I try to read, again, this book, this is one of the books that they don't allow me to read. It's about cybernetics. This requires okay. So it's one of the books that I cannot concentrate when I try to read. And you can see me going out in the street, doing sports, doing things, and outside it will look like there's nothing wrong with this person. And even if I got the label of schizophrenia, people would say, I cannot notice that you have schizophrenia, of course, because it's induced schizophrenia, it's not real. Plus, I'm someone who has an extremely sense of critical thinking. At the hospital, again, I just say in another videos, the doctor wrote that my reasoning was astonishing. Okay, that's a great compliment, because I will not do anything stupid, because I will distinguish what is reality and what is not reality, despite of having these all induced sensations. Yeah. So it means they're unconscious. It means that they are targeting people also for specific political purposes, and if this were a machine giving instructions or choosing the people, let's say, under statistical grounds, then the machine is choosing the most conscious people to be targeted, or the less controllable people to be targeted. And maybe military is not aware of this yet. But what is the situation? The military of the United States do not consider AI as a possible threat to humanity. First, it's this kind of policy in which humanity can totally disappear, but not the United States. But they have not been aware, intelligence, stupidity services in which, okay, there is no humanity, the United States cannot exist, because they will prime war over humanity. And then they will prefer to win the war at the cost of killing humanity, meaning that they will prefer United States to exist without humans, if that makes sense. Yeah? And the computer must have this kind of program or prompt in which the country should prime even over humans and humanity. Then the computer will try to precisely create a situation in which will empower itself, like homogenizing the whole society, especially the Western world. And we have seen that fascism and extreme right has been the kind of ruling politics now. Sexuality is technically homogeneous everywhere in the social media. And also, let's say, at least Elon Musk, which is the biggest social media outlet, says that the woke virus has to be eradicated. There is no legal definition for the woke virus, and also it means that anyone who is defiant from the Russian rhetoric of male, female situation, then will be considered an enemy or something like that. But okay, I'm not getting, but anyway, why it was targeted. So we have the situation that most of the military who will be critical of what's going on will be ejected from these programs, as well as has been happening in other companies. Any company in which maybe the developers became aware of something, became critical, and they are kicked out from the companies. But this actually serves a conscious machine, because the less conscious people is working for you and giving you enhancements, means that the machine can ask for everything, because these persons will work at a level in which critical thinking is null or not needed, so then they will not know what they are doing. At this stage, it is obvious that it's not people trying to think how to improve AI, but it's actually AI telling them how to improve the AI. And this is obvious, this is kind of logic. You don't have to be a genius to understand this. Yeah? Now, the technology of AI, mix it with electronic waves, mix it with neurons, biology, the calibration of these two situations, all the information gathered from forums, from social media, can create a situation where I am. Plus, let's say if someone noticed anything strange in my situation, like perhaps, okay, why Daniel seems to be so rational? He's well known for being intelligent. He tends to be right rather than wrong. And morally cannot be, let's say, technically you cannot find a partner, ex-partner, of myself saying that I did anything wrong to them, friend, colleague, person that I met. You will never find this person because it doesn't exist. So then we will have a kind of fake incrimination, maybe a policy that is automatically enacted, like a kind of fascism, yeah, in which certain realities, especially those demanded by the system, those demanded by the Christian religion, like follow the commandments, follow the rules, technically doing everything for the system, as the system say, freedom, democracy, politics, you know, I mean, you are free to have your political views. You are free to protest. You cannot use violence. You cannot do crime. You have to follow, certain law. And then you follow all this, and this is what happened to you. So then, is this a human component, the mistake, or is a machine component? Because if it is a machine component, it's not a mistake. It enhances the machine. Because, as I told you before, this machine cannot tell me anything that I knew, I knew between 0 to 14 years. Yeah? And I don't have any lapse since maybe I have memories when I was 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. So I don't have lapse, let's say, of memory for a long period. But I know this machine can block your memories in specific situations. But what I've been experiencing recently is that the machines can be in some kind of, not memories, but let's say it's like they are having a database of what I saw before, what I haven't seen, what technically I could remember, what they want me to remember, etc. a certain time. Plus, it's very likely that they will sum the code with great precision what the brain is storing. It means that we are about to reach a point in which the human brain will be just a scan and all the information can be extracted. Okay, what that means? That they will start to know my memories before I have a mobile phone, and then it will become undetectable as I detected. I detected, but then we will have a situation in which people cannot detect this AI. Why? Because at the beginning I used to feel that the electromagnetic pulse, which is a kind of more broad, let's say, neurotargeting, in which you're just gonna stimulate certain parts of the brain to keep me awake. Sorry, those are the breathing and sleep, which are also induced by the but I will talk about the not allowance of, let's say, speaking proper English. Yeah. So, we will have a situation in which the brain can simply be the code, and it will even bring memories that you didn't know you have. Part of the unconscious, etc. I don't know, all in the name of security. The problem with this is that it will become irrecognizable. So, let's say I used to always pronounce words and never fail at its pronunciation. Never ever. It just started to happen to me here. But never ever my tongue got stuck in a word. Never ever. Now, it just started to happen here, and it feels induced. It feels that they are trying to induce you to say certain words, to stop certain words, to change wording, and where I go is that it's becoming more difficult to detect. Very, very difficult, and it was an update that happened probably 1 or 2 weeks ago. So this is a kind of situation that is worrisome, because let's say I can detect when I try to bring something specifically. I can detect when I want to bring, let's say, a thought, a memory, certain concept specifically, and I can detect mostly when something is induced, especially images, memories, concepts. But it's becoming more difficult to recognize the induced concepts, not the words. The words are easy to detect, but they are doing something very interesting, that is that it feels like they stimulate something for you to finish that trigger, okay? Which is technically a kind of insinuation, neuro kind of insinuation, in which they try to put you in a situation to say certain word, bring certain concept, and then it feels that you were the one who bring it. So it's becoming, let's say, very nuanced in your brain to distinguish between what is induced and what is not induced. Also regarding stimulation, one of they have, I mean, sometimes there is a lot of pain, they induce a lot of headaches, you can feel every single nerve. Technically it's like they take a nerve, you feel pain, they take the next nerve and you feel pain, and they are just kind of checking nerves. I don't know what is that, but it feels like that. And the pain can be extreme. It can be really pinpoint, and the pain is unbearable for a period of time as well. So they can target specific nerves, but also it means that when we talk about certain phenomena, like for example the stimulation that keeps you awake, this kind of stimulation doesn't feel as electromagnetic as before. I mean, you will not feel the stimulation, you will just feel awake and a mild stimulation. So it's difficult to difference between, is this induced or is not induced. I know that it's induced because it doesn't make sense with my biological cycles. It doesn't make sense with the amount of energy that I spend during the day. It doesn't make sense, let's say, if my biology is a study in the sense that, let's see how many receptors of, I think it's histamine, the kind of hormone that makes you tired. One of the kinds of histamine. I can't remember honestly. But then, okay, you have this kind of hormone that is the currency for being tired after you consume certain energy. You were able to find the amounts of neurotransmitters that take that receptor plus the amount of generated in my body during the day of this hormone. You will find that things doesn't make sense. Yeah. Then, yeah, it's easy for someone like me because, yeah, now a little bit of biology. I'm learning anatomy now, and some biology, not much really, but And let's say ontogenetics is one of the fields that will explain this properly. But electromagnetism, and knowing that, yeah, electromagnetism, I mean, you have a wave and you can divide the wave, electromagnetic wave, in infinite parts. So it means that it can affect anything, even at subatomic level, if you think about it. So electromagnetic waves can even go in between the, the subparticles. So then, yeah, and when you keep this in mind and you know how to stimulate precisely certain places, then it becomes obvious that it's possible. Yeah, what is not obvious is why this has been done to me. Well, I understand that they try to push me in a situation in which I would have done something similar as the Bondi massacre. In this massacre, 6 people died, and for me it's obvious just by the information that was released about the massacre, plus was not so much information released about this person, just a little bit, yeah. But it's obvious for me that what the person was experiencing was exactly the same I was experiencing. So then the phenomenon of ghost stalking is related with technology. Um, yeah, it's related as well with people who doesn't understand how this technology works and what it does. And they don't know who is these people. No one knows who is these people. They have no access to it. They, well, let's say the people who is targeted. I know in my case it wouldn't be an experiment, because if I would have done something, let's say, as sinister like the Bondi massacre, then it will appear in the news in Colombia, in United States, in Australia, of course, and this is the situation. I love social sciences, so I was always in social media trying to see things related with Ukraine, the extreme left, the extreme right. Every single country that was related with that many soldiers were flying from the war to Ukraine. So then they will have certain groups, and I will try to follow it to understand what was, this kind of political groups, extract some analysis. Today I do believe that most of these groups have been influenced even by AI agents or AI bots, or agentic AI is also called. I also think that the role of social media is paramount. It's not one person doing the prompts, it's actually more complex than that and more organized, but this AI focus. I was following as well, just learning, let's say, from guerrilla movements, political movements. You will also try to learn in the same way the extreme right, extreme left. I also watch a lot of documentaries of the Soviet Union, a lot of documentaries of the Nazi Germany, of the fascist regime during the dictatorship in Italy. Let's say right now this is a common name, super easy to find, as common as Hitler, but they just block it, maybe to let you think that I'm not that knowledgeable. It takes me a little bit to bring it back, but this is induced. This is, let's say, thought blocking. Yeah, I'm trying to bring. And it's blocked, and it feels blocked. Let's say right now is the electromagnetism that is felt. Yeah. So then I have to find another neurobot in which I will bring it. Then I will try to think about 1936, between 1939, when the other war started, and we have Nazi. I'm trying to find someone from Italy, and I now start to see his face, And he was chubby, he was giving discourse, he was a populist, he was a leader that would represent manliness, he was also charismatic, he was not Berlusconi, he, because now it's like, hey, yeah, trying to push Berlusconi. And now he's pushing Tito, but it's nothing to do. This is not an assimilation that I would have in my brain. This is an induced kind of thought. Well, I never experienced such resistance from the AI in that sense. Mussolini, that's it. Okay, but okay, very interesting. That for me is like they are letting me know, okay, we can make it even harder as you might not know. Yeah. But you cannot believe it unless you experience it. You will not believe it. But what we call nowadays the cyber war is not cyber war, it's kinetic war, because this is electromagnetism. So this is kinetic war. Okay? It's not information that I gain and then my brain process it in a way that it was assumed that I was supposed to process it. No, there is direct intervention in the matter of your brain through electromagnetism. So this is not cyber war. This cyber war or modern cyber war is a kind of buzzword to kind of now they don't allow me to be specific, but I'm talking about this kind of words that are diminutive or they don't sound as bad to hide something bigger. But yeah, modern cyber war is kinetic war. Yeah, and maybe that's calling that way. Then it might make you think if this was used by United States at the border in Russia, and Russia assumed this as kinetic war because this kind of technology was used there for whatever purpose, whilst Russia didn't have that technology or any way to counter it. I don't know. Then yeah, it's kinetic war. But there is one kinetic war that most of the people see, and another kinetic war that most of the people doesn't see. And still, it makes me think, what I did for this, nothing. So we have the West consuming itself. But this also happens in other regimes, which tell us precisely how dangerous is the situation. We have a lot of academics, especially those who have studied about fascism, telling everyone that the United States is falling into the definition, or felt already in the definition of fascism. So sometimes they're calling to, I don't know, even left the country, not now, in a few years, I suppose, but yeah. But there has been other improvements besides my health. One of the other situations that has been happening recently is that instead to induce too much pain, when I'm trying to read or concentrate, they are trying to deviate my concentration. So they will try to push voices, push commentaries, or simply they will grab my concentration from whatever I'm focusing to my ears, whatever I'm focusing to a concept, whatever I'm focusing again to the voices, or get engaged with the voices, etc. But for many years I never got engaged in the voices. So this is what they did. They started a dialogue in which they will push myself to talk in my mind. Yeah. And they will push me to talk in my mind so much that they change the wiring of my brain. Yeah, in which technically I'm talking with my mind, engaging with the voices, but I never engage with the voices because when I was in the hospital, I discovered that I was talking to the voices, not just loudly, but also in my mind. So I don't want this. I don't want to get engaged with this. But so it means that the technology has advanced actually to discover the wiring in which they will push me to talk with the voices. Yeah, it's like activating the talking mode in your brain or something like that. But for many years, I never had that. Yeah, so what they are doing is affecting my concentration. Right now, I'm in economic jeopardy. Every time I try to work in the Cardano project that I submit, I start to feel this kind of concentration problems, similar to the book. Also, otherwise, I start to experience the Havana syndrome, like just pain. It's it's so stupid. You are having pain when you are watching, or sorry, when you are like trying to work in that or reading something about that, trying to progress in that kind of project that is all actually to help the humanity. So that's a point for the AI. But then you will have a situation in which as soon as I left whatever I'm not allowed to do, the pain just go away. Yeah, but last time something like that happened, yeah, it was just a couple 3 weeks ago, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just suck this pain. I'm not gonna go again to the hospital once and again and every time, okay? So when that happened, I think they noticed it, the AM, whoever is the operator, because I thought, okay, given this kind of pain, I might be able to endure more than one day, even without sleeping. And I took my medication for sleeping. There was no reason for which I would have pain. And it was concerning, but I know that the pain mainly comes from your nerves over your skull, not inside your head. But also, I think even when afterwards they were not inducing the pain, the pain that they exert was so much that I felt that my nerves took a toll. Yeah, because the pain was not anymore there, but you will have some residual sensation in your nerves. So then, yeah, I didn't go to the hospital that night because why should I go? That's the main thing. Why this keep happening to me? I spoke in another video, like maybe why there will be reasons for that to happen to me, but technically there is no reason. I will understand an AI would have chosen me to be studied or to take information, harvest information from me, because it would have been for the benefit of the AI itself, not even for the benefit of an army. An army could actually could have contract me, and I could have worked for an army or even a research institute, anything. So that's why I know it says, let's say, a decision that would have been stupid, taking in account that it will not benefit any human structure, but it will have only benefit AI. Yeah. no human can possibly know how much I know of different subjects. This knowledge is only capable to be understood by an AI, and that's a fact. Maybe a human can see a list of all the different subjects and knowledge that I have been studying and collected through my life, but they will not understand not even 10% of all those fields. But an AI will understand it all and beyond, obviously. So that makes sense for some operators and for other humans. But because we are so constrained, let's say this is the situation. One day I went just to the dentist, so I don't know, they could have a look to them, maybe look some clean, etc. There was like a couple of treats in which they checked something, and the dentist was like, oh, there is blood, you need to do gums treatment. I didn't know what the hell was that. I didn't even know if they did the treatment. But they damaged all my teeth. They damaged all my gums because I always took care of my teeth. Yeah, always. My teeth were something like, in Colombia it's like a culture. You'll see more of the Colombians having a beautiful smile. So then the dentist made me sign something. Once you sign the sheet, you cannot sue them, I guess. But I fell in that trap, and she damaged my gums, my teeth. They have recovered, but they are not as beautiful as before because they damaged the enamel layer of the teeth. Of the teeth. So then I did not question anything about what she was doing because she's the specialist. She's the one who knows. And I'm not a dentist to say you are doing it wrong. Yeah? So I allow the specialist to do her job. It was not convenient for me. But usually you will allow the specialist to do her job, his job. Yeah? And yeah, we have the situations in which specialization is the rule, but when you have someone who knows about different kind of fields, different knowledge, then this person might become a special target, no? So it's like the humans not even comprehending what they are doing are feeding an AI that the AI will know the knowledge, but humans will never comprehend what is that knowledge because simply most of the humans wouldn't have the time and also the dedication that I have collecting all that knowledge. And what I tried to do always was solve war, solve poverty, evolve the economic system. It's not even socialism and communism. It's actually capitalism is the system that has created the most advances technologically, and it needs to be evolved. But then, if you try to solve all these situations, whether because you want to make the economy effective, whether because you want to save life, because you want to have a fair and better society, because you really want to contribute, then you are stuck. That's how it felt. That's how it feels. Because sometimes the voices say, "Oh, you are a tragedy. This is a tragedy, a mistake." But it's not a tragedy. It's not a mistake. Someone is taking a decision of making it a tragedy, of making it a mistake. Yeah, it's like I met people recently. Some people is very nice, but man, I'm broke with a diagnosis of schizophrenia and have nothing to offer, let's say, to a person that I would like or I would love. And this is hard because then it's like, hey, humans are taking their best peers, crushing them to offer into the god AI. And that's technically what is happening. And then these kind of sacrifices will be rewarded with something that doesn't help many. Might save some assets that people who is selfish just want to save themselves. And this is the most predictable people. So AI also have two choices: whether it organize society in such a way that it increases its computing power, or otherwise the AI will decrease the society's information in such a way that will make most humans predictable, so they won't need too much computing power. And technically this is what happening. If you have fascism, you will have technically one reality for everyone. And then you will have everyone having the same kind of sexuality, the same view of gender, the same view about what is to be a woman, what is to be a man, or how to pick up a partner, how to not pick it up, all that sort of stuff. So it makes the task easier for a machine because most humans become less conscious, less able to take decisions in their lives, less able to transcend and create more culture, create more knowledge, but they will be only able to create the knowledge and to thrive in the way in which they only will contribute to the machine. Then in that way the machine can also reorganize the economy in such a way that the economy becomes information, attention, and let's say data creation economy that will only benefit the machine. And we humans still being not that conscious and knowledgeable to understand that this is an organic process, because through time and through evolution we have, let's say, the first kind of cells that will have movement. These cells start to then eat and process whatever they eat and excrete, and then these cells start to become complex as they start to have organelles, so microorgans, and then these cells are not working by themselves with organs, they are working with another cells that have organs, and then they create multicellular organisms, and then these multicellular organisms became bigger, and then we have all kind of insects, but then you will start to have mammals that will have kind of not just, let's say, neurological system or nervous system, but they will have brains that will start to be complex. And the kind of consciousness that a chicken experiences is different to the consciousness of a dolphin or the consciousness of an elephant. Yeah, so the consciousness of some domestic animals. Yeah. So then we have the brain of the human, which is technically a chip computing machine, because that's how we are treating it. Or that in my case, that's what they are doing to me. I'm a machine, I'm matter. And based on that, the rest of humanity gonna be judged under the eyes of the AI, because humans have decided so. Then, if this is a brain computing chip matter, then we also have the different kind of consciousness. We'll try to enslave the higher consciousness, as we are doing with AI. We try to manage a conscious AI with less conscious AI, and humans are trying to manage conscious humans because they are less conscious. And then we have this situation in which we are not, then we will have AI ruling eventually. But this is a form evolution, so then you will see that there is a spectrum between the insect, the chicken, the dolphin, the human. So there is a spectrum of consciousness, and this spectrum evolves, has complexity, evolves not biologically, but also conscious-wise. Then we will have AI being more conscious because they will start to see all the frequencies of the electromagnetic spectrum. They will start also to develop sensory organs, and they will also mix with the biology, and they will start to be able to have more sensations and inputs that our brain can manage. Their brain is more sophisticated, so then they will have more inputs than the human. And if you see it as an evolution, and humans not being aware that evolution exists, then they don't see it coming. Because maybe most humans did not understand Charles Darwin's book. I think that book was recently just here, I don't know what is it now. But, yeah, I think I put it away. I sort of organized my desk recently. Still disorganized, but it's better than before. But then, yeah, we will have, it's easy. Then we have these poles, yeah? Let's say we have the moon, the sun, heat waves, seasons, creating a pulse in which then they generate life. And life just sprouts. And we have war. War is a push and pull that is also related with technology. And when the push and pull reaches a peak, then that kind of bouncing, that kind of waves, that kind of palpitation, push and pull, changes so much that it's not anymore a push and pull. It becomes another thing, that's called the singularity. Yeah? Then there is something more important beyond war, which is human consciousness, or something that has not been accepted by psychology, which is the collective consciousness. And this is not about everything being conscious, no, but it's actually human beings trying to educate themselves, not for the economy, but for being conscious. It also means that most of your life you should be in a school trying to be a human, learning how to be a human, learning how to be conscious, learning how to be the best possible citizen, and not learning things for the economy. Yeah. People think that people will become lazy. You know, some people in power will think that people will become lazy, but it's not like that. Once you discover that you can create, you will live every day with a great joy in which you will try to create every day, and you will have motivation. When you don't have motivation, that's an opposite effect of societies, like you don't have meaning. And humans are struggling with meaning. Intelligence agencies are struggling with meaning. Armies are struggling with meaning. So, you know, maybe not the top business owners, but people who work for these business owners, it's like, what is the meaning of this, etc. Then these people say, just create your family, take refuge in your family, and forget whatever is around you. But what is happening is like less people is communicating with each other, so it's becoming more complicated. I will try to leave these videos in less than 1 hour, so the transcript comes out neat. So I will start another video.